Hello, welcome to White Space, the show with a name calculated to cause utter disappointment to graphic designers. The white space we're about is not design white space, it's about the white space inside data centers. We come from data center dynamics and we come to you from the white space in the cellar where we produce our website and magazine. So, what's been going on this week in the exciting world? Max?
Yes, okay, first of all, liquid-cooled switches.
Liquid-cooled switches?
Yes, now I didn't actually realize switches need to be cooled by liquid, but there's these guys, they're based in the UK, they're called Isotope, and they make this big fridge-looking thing that you slot your blades into and liquid cools them. So the blades are submerged in primary coolant, which is I think like can be 3M Novak or something else, but essentially inert and dielectric. And the box itself has secondary coolant coursing through it, and it takes the heat out. So you get your water out, like warm water. It can be used for domestic heating, and your servers remain cool. And now your switches too, because these guys have cooperated with Mellanox and have built the first ever switch that doesn't have any fans.
We've heard of another recycled building this week.
Oh.
Yes, we sent David Chernikoff to a former steel mill in the States, and which is being filled bit by bit with stackable data center modules. Now, yes, David certainly had fun visiting there, and he says it's a very impressive place. We have only been able to use official photos on this because apparently they feel there's a certain amount of privacy to their modules. Even though they're containers and you can't see what's going on inside them, you can't even see the computers, and you'd still have to guess what was going on with those. But these data center people can be pretty private.
This is interesting because I've been to a data center last week, and that was a container-based sort of deployment, and they told me not to take any pictures. Apparently there's some things about containers themselves which are top secret intellectual property, and they really don't like you publishing those details.
Or maybe it's just that the more they tell you not to take pictures, the more excited it's supposed to be. Okay, so we will bring you all the pictures of boxes we can on our site. Right, anything more from you, Max?
Yes. So what else happened this week? Oh, the great. I mean, one of the greats is no longer with us. Windows Server 2003 finally bites the dust. Now, after 12 years in deployment, Microsoft finally pulled the plug. Now, the normal life cycle for Microsoft operating systems is 10 years. And they've extended it first for XP, now for Windows Server, but sooner or later, it comes to an end, and every time it causes a panic and destruction, and people might be dying, I don't know. No, but the thing is, so there's research coming in this week which suggests smaller guys have no issue with migration. They have migrated to new operating systems, whether that's Windows Server or some version of Linux. It's the large corporations who have thousands of servers. They are really, really struggling because the costs of upgrades can total hundreds of thousands of pounds. And HP, for example, is one of the companies which are treating this migration as a sort of bonanza, and they say we can earn $1 billion in 2 to 3 weeks just doing migration-related services.
A big data center merger this week. Digital Realty has bought Telx, or Telx, or not 100% sure how to pronounce the name of this company, but anyway, it's been bought for $1.9 billion. It's interesting because Digital Realty is a real estate investment trust, a REIT,
yes.
And Telx has actually does whole retail colo. So essentially, Digital Realty is wholesale. It does whole buildings, and Telx does the retailing, the space inside them. So it's Digital Realty spreading out into a slightly diversifying what it does. Also means it owns 2 pretty cool buildings in New York.
Oh, is it the Urban Giants?
The Urban Giants, yes. Recently, yes. Which are proper good old-fashioned New York buildings, and all made out into data centers. Google surprised people a little by joining OpenStack. Okay, Google does not use OpenStack itself. Its own cloud is built on its own proprietary stuff. But Google does do a lot of work in open source groups, and OpenStack is an open source group. The thing about it is that Google sees that hybrid clouds are what's going to happen in future, as everybody does, and so it realizes that not all their customers' stuff is going to be on the Google cloud. Some of it's on their own internal clouds, some of it's on other public clouds, and stuff is going to have to move between those things, and the easiest way to move it is as a containerized workload. So, Google is joining OpenStack to push forward the containerization work within OpenStack, thereby allowing containerized workloads to move more easily between Google and OpenStack clouds. And the other thing about that is we can say is Amazon isn't joining OpenStack, so it's a step ahead for Google. IBM is part of OpenStack, and so are pretty much all the major players. It's just if you're running a competing cloud of your own and you're not doing OpenStack, you might not think it was worth joining. But on the other hand, in a world of hybrid clouds, there's going to be some OpenStack somewhere, so pay attention to it. So Max, we've got a new issue out at Data Center Dynamics, the July-August issue. Do you want to tell us a bit about it?
Yes, indeed. So the issue is about all the ways in which you can cool your data center. It's full of, air conditioning units, cracks, chillers, free cooling, adiabatic, liquid, all the good stuff.
And ice cream, of course.
And a bit of ice cream, yes.
You've got to allow us to have fun. And indeed, this involved graphic designers too, so we love them really.
Yeah.
And also in this issue, we have features on significant issues. We've got a look at data centers in Colombia. We have some analysis of how good it is to support data centers with tax breaks. Governments are giving money effectively, big reductions in the tax they need to pay. Is it worth it? That's a good question we're asking. We look at DDoS attacks, particularly how they attack data centers. And of course, the cooling supplement, with a look at liquid cooling, which brings us back to Mellanox, of course.
Yes. So, question, is this the best issue we've ever done?
Till the next time, yeah.
And on that bombshell, we say goodbye.